Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio from Scotland, and I am with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Hi, Frank.
Morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
Kinda.
Yeah.
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 Sorry, if there's anyone out there who can't hear us, can you let us know?
Haha.
That'll be tricky, won't it?
That's like a joke.
I think I'm going to give up on the headphones. We're in a field, and I have a megaphone.
It's like one of those Glastonbury
Alan
OBs
and
or something.
Emily have. You know when you put fishing twine into the back of a bean can? That's
I've
how
got
it
a
is.
stocking over mine.
I'm not suggesting this is any suggestion about the state of technology in Scotland. I just think we're just having a bit of bad luck this morning. Anyway, we're at the Edinburgh Festival, which I think officially starts today.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's there's been previews and things. There's live. There's
Well,
been
that's
live
weird.
this week.
It's weird that it starts today officially, because everybody I know has been up here for ages, and I thought I was cutting it fine by arriving on Thursday. When did you get here? Wednesday?
Wednesday I arrived, yeah.
I've got to say, it's very much got the feeling of everyone's a little bit still in their bathrobes with their rollers in, pre
Oh.
the dinner party. Do you know what I mean? You rung the doorbell and they said, "Oh, we're not quite ready yet."
Yes.
But I like that.
Of course,
I
in the
like being
north.
early doors.
In the northwest of England now, it's increasingly common to see ladies on the train with their rollers in. Like
Is it
yeah,
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a thing.
The wags do that. Are you
It's
still allowed to say wags?
I don't know.
the
I
rules.
think they're almost to whatever happened to wags. If I could operate the jingles desk here, I might even hit it.
Do you want me to do it?
No, I'll just sing it. It'll be fine.
That'd be fine.
Frank, I've got a whatever happened to already this morning on the
No
Twitters.
way.
Can I?
Okay, is it Scottish technology?
Well, it's Spencer Simpson
Oh
has
yeah.
got in touch. Morning
SS.
Dream Team.
I wouldn't want SS. No. Oh, you wouldn't be able to resist the old lightning shape when you did your... You know, when you have to do a signature and they say, can you just initial it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to resist the lightning.
Look, he's called us Dream Team. So
Okay.
already I'm a fan.
Okay.
I've got a WHT.
I feel sorry for him that this is almost certainly not being broadcast. It's a big moment on
Shut
radio.
up about it. Whatever happened to
Yeah.
shop assistants counting the change into your hand?
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's... I think that's... I think avian flu. They stopped doing it
Oh,
and they
yeah.
never recommenced.
They were keen on the contactless payments coming through after the avian flu.
Yeah,
weren't
when they had actually it might have been swine fever. I can't remember. They're a blur. We get these things now and again that stop all contact.
Yeah.
And I remember in mass on Sunday morning, the priest said, "We're not going to have the handshake, the peace be with you handshake, because of swine flu."
Oh, really?
And that was a bit strange. People were nodding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was like being in the Far East. Yeah. That's one of the questions I remember from Trivial Pursuit about... I forgot what the question is, but in China there is something like... Or Japan, 25 people admitted to hospital for injuries caused by bowing in close proximity.
Is that right?
Yeah, head injuries.
Like clash of heads type
Yeah.
stuff. Oh,
And as
yeah.
you know, FIFA rules, you have to stop Japan immediately to do that. Hold on, we're off here. So just give me 10 minutes while I press the play button. I'm convinced this is not being broadcast. Have we had any texts?
Yeah.
We've had a text that suggests a response to something I've said.
Oh, no, I was answering your question. Have we had any text?
Well, I have a...
Yeah, we
I
have
feel
had
bad
text.
about saying, can you text us to say... Because obviously they won't be able to hear us.
Well, I've had a response to something you said.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. But, I mean, it's not 100% positive, but I'm going to read it.
Well, I don't know. I can't. I'd rather broadcast into the ether than get negative waves.
Absolute Radio.
So here's the thing. I went to see a show,
Oh, yeah.
very fine show actually, called The Big Bite-Sized Breakfast. And what it is, it's about, you see 4 or 5 plays in an hour.
Oh, okay.
That's good value for money.
Yeah, but
Package, sure.
Cockerel, you'd like that.
it's
Yeah,
like
you know what I love?
No, but
I
it's
love a
like
bit of
bargain.
VFM.
it's like a repertory company.
Yeah.
And
Such a playwright now.
and they do.
He was
this.
talking about in the round earlier. When you do it in the round.
Anyway, I was. I'd recommend it, but I got in there, and at this stage at the Edinburgh Festival, because people are previewing shows, or they have been the last 3 days. If you're working at that venue and you've got your pass to say that, if the show doesn't sell out, you can go in. They let you in to fill up the seats, basically. So I waited for the crowd to go in. There were still some empty seats, so I went in, and there was a big woman with. She had a pink fan, a pink battery-operated fan. So it looked like one of those microphones that you see Frank Sinatra singing into. It's big, round, like, CBS. And she was blowing that, and she said, "Come and sit by me." And I said, "Okay." She said, "I talk quite a lot, actually. I'm very entertaining."
Oh, God.
She sounds like me on a first date.
Oh,
And
no.
I said, "Great, I get 2 shows for the price of 1." And she said, "Well, you'll have to pay me."
Not the first time you've heard that.
Yeah. And, it always hurts. And I said, well, I didn't even pay to see this one, gesturing towards the stage. At which point, she, how can I express this? She used a Class A swear phrase, the second word of which was off.
Oh my God.
Twice, and she said, "And I mean it." So I said, "I'm gonna move and sit somewhere else now." And because she was American, I said, "I'm finding you quite hostile," which I hope she was American. I didn't want to think I was going to try and find her a hostel,
Yeah.
because that wouldn't have been fair on the other residents. So I moved, but that was my first show I went to, and I got
What an opener.
yeah,
Strange interaction.
Wow, I mean, twice with an "I mean it."
I mean, people normally respond well to you, Frank.
I don't think she knew my back catalogue.
Of your jocular persona.
No, I don't think she knew that at all. But
So
the
much
idea that I
right on
hadn't
that.
paid absolutely outraged her.
Yeah. Well, then maybe she knew that you were worth a few quid, and she was just outraged that free stuff comes to those that have already got.
Well, she can tell
Yeah,
by the
well.
clothes, because we should establish at this point, Frank has got a good look up here. He's really found his look.
He was in that golden
And-
suit, wasn't he? He was in a golden suit, really lording it
I'll
over
tell you
people,
what,
boasting about his
the
free
mistake
tickets and his
I
gold
make,
suit.
I think, is the top hat. I just think if you got a few bob, you have a certain responsibility to wear it. I always think lottery winners, as soon as you check the ticket,
Yeah.
you're online for a top hat. That's the first
Straight away.
thing. Yeah. But it can turn people against you.
Okay.
Certainly.
I mean, I'm not done working through your look, so we'll return to that.
Okay. I think it's my Diary of an Edwardian Lady look. Would you
It's
agree?
more, you know what it is? It's the playwright's look, which I'm going to get on to.
Oh, I wish I'd have worn spectacles
Yeah.
now. Because when I've got my Gregory Peck's on, and that's not rhyming slang, it's
No.
I
some
thought
of
I
you
heard
may
Danny
know.
Dyer say that.
I wear spectacles based on those worn by Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Frank, your look is quite the father in 101 Dalmatians.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I'm just about right for that.
Yeah.
Actually, my look at my age ought to be man stuck to ceiling in Mary Poppins. But we'll settle for that.
Absolute Radio.
Can I add, we are very, very happy to be in Edinburgh. We're just having a slight headphone thing.
You
What
may.
do you care?
You may add that.
You know,
I
you
think.
got your own problems there at home.
Well, you need layers.
I mean, what a
in
hangover that is, Steve. I bet you that hits 80 people listening.
80.
It's lovely. Can we just say it's lovely and cool in Edinburgh?
I hope we now don't get like all the Steves texting in saying, "Yeah, I'm one," and it becomes like I'm Spartacus? What if we get more than 80?
I'd be really happy
You'd
with
be
it.
quite pleased by that.
So can I tell you? So I moved away from this lady and sat with
Who
her.
abused you?
Sat
your
with.
face.
I sat with a couple who showed me.
Very modern.
They showed me a 5-page spreadsheet that they had detailing
The shows they were going to.
the 170 shows they were going to see during the festival.
Shut up.
Absolutely amazing.
Did you take the opportunity to go 170? That sounds a lot.
But I said I saw a brilliant play last night called Everything Not Saved. I said it was great. I said there were 6 Rasputins on stage at one point. And the guy looked at me with a strange pain in his eye. And I realised if you've bought tickets for 170 shows,
Yeah.
what you don't want is a recommendation for one that isn't on your list. It's like, do you ever get back from holiday? So you've been to Rome, you've had a great time, and you say, I had a brilliant... So did you see the Trevi Fountain? You think, oh, no, I didn't.
No.
Didn't see that. And the whole thing is...
Yeah.
Frank, you should have recommended your own play.
Oh,
That would have been great, wouldn't it?
tickets for that.
yeah, but I
surely.
don't know if he had that on the list. I had a quick perusal, but I couldn't find it.
Can I just say, I went to see Frank's play yesterday.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I
go.
saw both my boys yesterday. Firstly, I would like to thank you, both of you, for your consistently high standard of work. Because there's a lot of terrible stuff on there. There's a lot of good stuff, but let's face it, there's a lot of terrible stuff. And it's just such a relief. It's reassuring to know I won't have the Orcs moment backstage.
Oh, that's
I
good.
saw Frank's play. Nina's got news, 2:50. Pleasantstone, everyone.
That's not the price.
Okay, no, that's the time. Matinee, dear. Al, I'm so proud of that boy.
That's
Oh,
good.
he's a playwright. It's brilliant.
Yeah, he's
But
got
he
it all,
was.
hasn't he?
It's
Does it all.
fabulous. Everyone must go and see it.
Oh.
We saw him. No, I'm going to do
You know I
this,
don't like
Frank.
praise like this. It's
Everyone
hurting
must
me.
go and see
Yeah,
it. Not if
everyone.
they've already got 170 tickets booked. Not everyone.
We'll get onto your show in
I
a
might
minute.
be on their list. I'm not saying
Well,
I'm
you
not
might,
on their
you
list.
What about when Frank was in? There was a queue, big queue Al he had, and Daisy, the producer. Frank was going through. He was greeting his fans.
I was busking.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Daisy said, "Look at Frank. It's like Tom Cruise at the Mission Impossible premiere."
Oh, was it?
It was hardly
I mean, there was 3 old
that.
men,
I was
let's
on my
be
knees
honest.
at the time. Oh, can I tell you something? I had something that never... occasionally we're doing this radio... Thank you, Em, by the way. But, occasionally we're doing this radio show, and if you don't mind saying, Alan, your stomach sometimes slightly rumbles.
Yes, it has
And you've gone
happened
up
on
in my
occasion.
estimation so much.
Now, I've got a
Yeah.
weird thing that my stomach never rumbles. It just never rumbles.
I'm
And then I
sorry
was
for that.
sitting watching this this breakfast performance. I say it's a breakfast performance in Edinburgh. It started at 10:30. And my stomach suddenly did one really loud...
Yeah.
with quite a sustained ending, like feedback at the end, like a
Right.
Velvet
Oh, was it like
Underground.
an E flat?
Really good.
Well, the way that it was it was like, I imagine our lava lamp must feel. It was
Right.
that, and I thought, wow, I never get that. And then one much louder with the sort of psychedelic. It went a bit BBC Radiophonic Workshop. And I was starting to get embarrassed because it
I feel a
it
bit
was
tense
loud.
now.
It was. I was tense. But get me, and I swear to you, this is true. I'm not exaggerating. Anyway, this is what happened. It went again in a real kind of way, and the woman next to me went, "Sexy." Oh, absolutely! Wow, I was squirming. I don't remember the show. The show had been started 5 minutes probably. I'd already been told to. I've been sworn at and twice, and now my innards were getting.
Seems like the general public has realised that now you're a playwright, you're free to be heckled in the
Yes,
street.
they've turned against me.
Absolute Radio.
We're still working on the technical things here.
Yeah.
if it's fair to say. think it's getting a bit. I'll tell you what I feel like talking to you guys. I feel like, when someone, when a pilot has a heart attack or something,
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
and a passenger takes over the
Yeah.
thing, and they have to talk them down from the control tower.
There's an element of
That's the
that.
kind of sound quality I'm getting from you.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
Frank, I
similar thing.
mentioned your play, which I loved.
Yes.
I'd also like to mention I went to see The Cockerel last night.
I was
me.
banned.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
yeah.
quite
I
banned.
snuck in.
Discouraged.
Well, you're coming back, so you can see it later in the run. But
Well, I saw my role as eye candy last night.
When you get to my
Thank
age,
you.
Al, you don't think I'll come back and see it in 3 weeks' time.
But you,
Anyway,
you, I
it's
think
all
you'll like it. Al, you
think
did well
you'll
last
like
night.
I've never seen Al
Enjoyed it.
not be very funny.
He
I
was
can
brilliant.
honestly say that.
That's
Also
nice.
at 9:40, actually, the stand that is. I'm the listings person on the show.
aren't you?
Al, you know what I loved, Frank? After I thought I'll go back. I think I've got it right. I know him well enough. He had
Yeah.
a few back last night, in fact. He wasn't expecting it.
No, I
it
was
not.
banned. But
He didn't know they were coming. People just turned up.
Yeah,
Beverly Sisters.
You weren't banned. Yeah, Beverly Sisters were
Just-
there.
Charles Brandreth.
Just Joy and Babs, I
Yeah.
think it was.
The Crankies, they were back there.
Well, they're always around.
Yeah.
But Frank, you would have respected this. He's just come off stage from his big gig, and
He's looked up.
He's looked up. His cool comedy mate said, "Al, can I get you a cup of tea?" I mean, it was like Thora Heard.
You see, if I'd have gone out,
tea.
I would have said, I've had an idea for a gag you can do.
Yeah.
And that's it.
yeah.
Do you know, I actually had to fight. I went to see the multi-play thing, the big bite-sized breakfast. There was it started with an Anglo-Saxon reenactment.
Oh.
So I thought, this is so far up my strasse.
Yeah.
And what do you think of this? So at one point, I won't spoil the play, but a woman who is being William the Conqueror hits the Saxon guy with a baguette across the back of the head,
Oh.
right? And he's going to go and rubbing his head, I'm making it. It's really funny and clever. But anyway, so
Sounds great.
so I thought what he should have said is, because she's William the Conqueror, remember? He should have said, "Oh, you've given me a pain in my head," and she should have said, "No, actually, it's pronounced pan."
Pan.
Oh.
No, come on.
Trebon.
But
Do you know there aren't enough puns in this world? Oh yes, there are.
But I went to. I saw them after. They were
Did you
around
you didn't
outside.
give them that
No,
note,
I
did
did not.
you?
I fought it. It was on the very tip of my tongue, but
Oh.
I fought it.
I hate it when you give notes.
I know, it's terrible. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that person. But I think of so many funny things.
More of a curse than a gift.
Oh, well, no, generally it's a gift. But when it's other people's things. Can I tell you about another show?
You can, as long as I can tell you about Sue Pollard.
Okay, always.
Okay.
I met Sue Pollard yesterday.
Lovely.
Actually, maybe we should talk about I'll hold back on this show. I did BBC Breakfast yesterday.
I saw it.
There was the show started with, in order to suggest the whole spirit of the festival, they had all these people lined up, acrobats, a vocal group, knife throwing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera pans across all the colour and vivacity of the Edinburgh Festival and ends up at me and Maureen Lipman on the sofa.
Yeah.
So it begins with the Chinese acrobats and they start off. So they've got like 8 seconds to plug their act. And they jump onto the thing, slip, one knocks the other one over, and it's just, it's like a clash of heads. It was,
I mean, that was their big moment.
Has PR ever gone more wrong than that? I did feel for that. She was down for about 30 seconds.
Oh dear.
I thought they'd killed her.
Yeah.
But
I saw you on BBC Breakfast, Frank.
yes,
Yeah.
He did some. He was good actually. Al. He said, they said, "Oh, have you ever considered being in a soap, Frank?" He had a lovely answer up his sleeve.
well, because
did you say,
I
Frank?
was on. Did you? I wasn't sure. I said it's been suggested I use more soap. I don't know if it was really
Got
up
a big
there.
laugh. They loved it.
I wish you hadn't taught me into saying it twice. I regretted it the first time. But anyway, the truth was I was being interviewed with Maureen Lipman, and when you've been in, I love Maureen Lipman. I tell you what I particularly love her. I once presented an Olivier Award, and me and the other presenters were in a room watching. It's filmed in the sort of midday. It starts,
Right.
and then they put it out in the evening on telly. So there's me and Maureen Lipman and some other presenters, and the woman wins a prize, and she goes up in like a ball gown, and Maureen Lipman went, "Lunchtime, dear," and I've always loved her for that. But when you're being interviewed with Maureen, it's a bit like crossing a busy road. If a gap comes, you've got to get across because there might not be another one for a while.
Talker.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
You did all right.
Sorry, am I going on too long in this? I've got to tell you this. First, they had a knife throwing man. Did I tell you that? And a lady who stood there. I mean, I'm amazed it's still.
Yeah, I'm surprised because that.
Health and safety
that mainly
and
goes wrong.
feminism, you think
Yeah.
would be two movements that might have put a stop to it, but no. And then, and so we watch a bit of that, and then Maureen says, "Well, I was actually asked to do that, to stand there and let him throw knives at me." And I thought, well, they never asked me that. Perhaps it is a bit of a sexy. And then she said, and I said, "Good morning, Britain." And I thought, well, A, that's the name of the show on the other side, and B, what do you mean by that?
It's not a great answer to Did you ever ask for
I'm too frightened of it to ask for verification. You don't ask Mo for verification. You just take it.
Oh, Big Mo.
I mean, she told the story about she'd been offered a part in Coronation Street and she was going to say no. And then her late husband, who's a
Jack
brilliant
Rosenthal.
playwright, Jack Rosenthal, but also wrote loads of Coronation Street. A light suddenly came on above his portrait, and that's how she knew that she was going to do it. And we didn't question that either. We just, I mean, if Mo says it happens. But it was quite an experience. I think the Chinese girl was still on the floor at this point.
Absolute Radio.
Oops, went a bit DJ. Fight that, Frank.
So I've seen some great things, Frank.
I bet you have. You always, when you come up here, you fill your boots.
I really do. I go hard or go home. And I'm not going home.
Yeah? I tend to go home nowadays.
Yeah. It's for the best.
Went to see Sue Pollard
Okay.
You
in
never
a one-woman
did.
show. I did.
Excellent.
I took Sarah, the assistant producer,
Oh, yeah?
and it's a whole new world to her.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be asking about tickets and that yourself.
Well, I don't know. I think she was a bit, because we sat, I don't know if she knew who Sue was.
Well, she's post-Heidi Eye,
Yeah,
certainly.
she's a young un. So she did say, it's a one-woman show about a hoarder, and we sat there and Sarah said, shall I do an Instagram? Is it grammable?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know.
And it's called Heidi Hoarder, is that right?
No, although, funny you should say that, Frank, because obviously it's the sort of elephant in the room, isn't it? Come on.
I know. Well, the thing is, it was some of our younger listeners, I think there's about 4, may not have heard of Heidi High, but it was a massive sitcom, and she was like one of the characters that everyone did impress. You know, we were talking about David Bellamy,
Yes.
but one of those impressions that everybody did, and Sue Pollard was one of them. Oh, Miss Cathcart. That.
Very good.
I remember the name of the boss. Yeah.
Did you have that in your
I
locker?
didn't, as we know. Looking back on it, I was a very male voice impersonator. I just did David Bellamy, Frank Spencer, and Jimmy Cricket. They were my big 3.
I did a fabulous former Norwich and Man City manager, John Bond.
Did you?
Quite specialist interest, that one, wasn't it? I mean, I don't...
It's a very important game, Jim. Yeah, that was... believe me, that's just like him.
I bet that
Very
was
good.
great.
Yeah.
So her character, who was, I believe, called Peggy Olerinshaw, is that correct? Maybe I might be
Don't
wrong. Have I
remember.
made
It was
that up?
Peggy, certainly.
Okay,
Peggy.
okay. So let me have half of it. The John
Well,
Bond, the John Bond
I just don't
impersonator.
remember this. I didn't know she had a surname.
I think it was.
I mean,
but
we never saw Miss Cathcart. Miss Cathcart was one of those characters like her indoors, and she who must be obeyed.
Nice.
And Charlie, of course, from Charlie's Angels, who never
and
ever
the
appeared.
engineer in the studio.
Yeah,
never saw them.
Douglas, who we've heard a lot about this morning, is not here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking him as I'm going to call him Plugless Douglas.
But Frank, they had for Sue Pollard's set. she's a hoarder. So it's in order to signify that she's a hoarder.
Lots of newspapers and
Lots
things.
of newspapers, a suitcase.
Crisp bags? Any crisp bags knocking around?
No,
They
but
don't hoard crisp bags, do
Oh, no,
they?
it's just untidiness. You're right. My
Hat
mistake.
and a Union Jack flag
Okay.
and a football. But you know what else was there? As a little nod to her former career,
Not the yellow
they
blazer.
had a yellow blazer
Oh.
hanging on.
And she never got. She aspired to the yellow blazer.
It was cruel.
Did they
Yeah,
really?
they had a little yellow blazer.
Sue, intertextuality, meta references from Sue Pollard.
Very clever.
Yeah, there are a lot of lovely elderly gentlemen there with glasses on a lanyard in the audience.
Nice.
Absolute Radio.
You know, Sue Pollard in a questionnaire in the Daily Mail once cited me as her would but shouldn't. I mean, I thought, hold on, I'm not quite. Why shouldn't?
Emily's lost it.
Well, it's absolutely true.
I don't think she'll be able to speak again this week.
Oh, Miss Cat. Sorry, carry on.
That Sue Pollard called you.
I know. I mean, that is you're struggling. If Sue Pollard is thinking, well, obviously I'd be dropping my standards a bit. Not that she isn't a lovely woman. Don't get me wrong. I met her yesterday. She's very, very nice. Ah, yes. So carry on, Em.
Yeah, so you know what? I mean, as we say, with all the performances here, we'll be discussing, it's early doors. It's
Yeah.
still in a bathrobe and rollers.
Yeah.
So you got to give people that. But she's gone a bit Alan Bennett, Talking Heads. I like that.
Oh, I like that.
It's a serious place.
Yeah, she's not serious,
God
yeah.
bless her for that.
She plays about 6 different characters.
Oh, does
The only-
she?
Yeah, but she doesn't change her voice. So
Oh.
it's just sometimes I didn't know who.
You don't want her to change her voice,
No.
though, once you got.
No. Once you got
It's the
Pollard.
brand.
Yeah. What I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
stick
Well,
with
she was
Pollard.
talking very honestly to me about it and said, I'm still. It was previews this
Yeah,
week, so
yeah.
like everybody else. She says, I'm still, I'm still finding it.
Oh, I love a bit
Yeah.
of Pollard though.
Oh, she's great. And I think I can't think of another Sue that doesn't use the E.
She
Oh,
doesn't use
fine, what a
the E.
great
No, it's
observation.
Sue.
It's
Pollard.
so
It's
true.
SU.
Oh.
It's quite 70s that.
Yeah, unless because I think they named the Student Union Bar after her.
Oh,
at Warwick. I know it's just SU, I think. But yes, I can't think. If anyone can think of an E-less Sue,
Yeah. Has Sue Barker got an E? Oh yeah.
no, definitely. You
Okay.
couldn't go into international tennis without an E on a Sue.
Wouldn't have it.
No, they won't have that. We better go. I'm getting. I'm
Okay,
getting
but I haven't
pressure.
even mentioned Laurel and Hardy.
Well, we'll come to them in a minute. No longer with us.
Okay.
It's any new listeners.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio from Edinburgh. And with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane, you can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've actually had an email that I'd like to bring to your attention. That it takes part of my Friday night trawl. You know, I like to look through the Friday night emails.
I love it. Nothing wasted. Even the feet.
And even in Edinburgh he does it as well.
Yeah.
It's titled Tally Marks. Dearest Alan, the divine M, and that other bloke. That means you, Frank. I think they should just call you the playwright.
See,
from
since
now
I've
on.
become a playwright, people hate me.
I'll start by redacting praise, they say, and then they put in brackets that they're a massive fan. You guys often talk about how people exaggerate how often they've seen films, etc. That's the thing that we've been doing in recent weeks. Frank has a theory that if someone says, oh, they've seen Finding Nemo 20 times, they mean like 12 or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. As a sad and rather pedantic scientist, I have for many years I have for many years made small tally marks at the back of DVD covers each time a film is watched.
Oh.
As such, I have an extremely accurate handle on the real data. If more of your listeners adopted this strategy, there would be a whole lot more honesty in this world. Cheers, Andrew Collins. P.S. This email was programmed to send at this specific time so as to maximise the chance of being caught by Cochrane's late night Friday night troll.
Ah, clever. Typical
Very.
scientist. He's thought it through.
He's got a lot of systems and I like that.
I like this dude.
You like him,
Yeah,
Al?
but
He'd be a nice friend for you while you're up in Edinburgh.
Big fan.
Who might
big
not be in Edinburgh.
May not be in Edinburgh, but
But I
that's the
met a
joy
lot of nice women on my touring
Whoa,
days. I don't think they'd have gone for the tally mark. I think they'd have been offended.
Yeah, it's not a system for every.
No, it doesn't work across
Memory.
the board. It's all right for DVDs. They're impersonal things at the best of times.
Well, I liked it.
I can I tell you, I went to see a show. Now, I've just been trying to, catch as much as I can because I'm only up here for a few days. So I went to see a show with a double act called, now tell me if you've heard of these, Al. It's called Raymond and Mr. Timkin.
Yes, I have heard of them. I've worked with them many times.
So I went to see them doing an hour at the Pleasance Dome.
Comics?
Yeah, well, we'll come to that.
Okay.
Because I've never seen a show like it before.
Right.
It was, and I spent maybe 10 minutes thinking, what is this? and then thinking, it's terrible, isn't it? Surely this is terrible.
Oh, really?
And then I started just smiling a bit and then really laughing. And I tell you what was the weird thing is I got out of there and I was still laughing when I left the gig. And just two people came up to me and started talking to me who I didn't know. And I was still laughing. And they said, what are you laughing at? I said, I think I'm catching up on the 10 minutes in that show when I wasn't laughing. I'm still laughing for an hour. It's like when, do you remember when Eddie Shah brought out Today newspaper and the colour pictures all had a slight overlap? It was like that.
Yeah.
So I've never seen anything like it.
What is it, cabaret?
Well, what is it? There's a lot.
Alun.
Well, what is it? I mean, there's so much that you've said that they could use for their poster quote, including, is this terrible?
No, but I wouldn't.
What is it?
If I'd just seen it and thought it was terrible, I wouldn't have mentioned it.
No, of course.
But the
Well,
fact
that would be a good poster quote.
And also, and that you laughed for an hour. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thanks, getting a laugh for an hour.
But they wouldn't be happy with me laughing 10 minutes after the show had ended. In fact, I went straight in to see another show after this couple, and this bloke must have thought he was storming it, because I was still laughing a bit at those two. But I was sort of laughing at their... for a start of it, felt completely untouched by anything that's happened in comedy in the last 40 years, was one thing
no
about
wonder
it.
you liked it.
I think you liked it.
But
I haven't seen them for many years, but I'm going to go...
Well, I don't know if this has always been their act, but most of it is... There's no real dialogue as such. It's clips from
music
songs.
and yeah.
So, and elaborate puns, but like I've never seen puns done before.
Okay.
And there was lots of stuff about breaking wind and all that was going on.
Yeah.
But some of it was like so from I couldn't believe it was still happening. I'll give you... I don't like doing people's gags from shows, but there's about 9 million gags in this one, so I think one is an example.
That's healthy.
Yeah.
So, for example, they are you familiar with the 60s classic World Without Love by Peter and Gordon?
Yes.
I'm not.
It goes,
I am.
don't lock me away and please allow the day. It's a
Right.
lovely little thing.
I don't want to live in a world without love.
Yeah, exactly. So they held up a sign that said girls allowed, as in the band. And then they just played the beginning of the second verse, which goes, birds sing out of tune. I couldn't quite believe the use of the word birds. I mean, it was...
Do you know, that's so new lads. Lovely nod to the new
I'd
lads.
tell you something. I would say if you could only see one show in Edinburgh, I would like people, anyone who listens to this show, to go, because I'd like to know what they thought. Because I came out of it thinking, I don't know what I think about this, but I am laughing about it. So it's got to be good.
I predict that they're going to be the talk of the town because they've been everyone's favourite on the circuit for years and
Have
years.
they really?
Yeah,
Well,
loads of people absolutely love them.
They're going to be the talk of the town because they're going to have on their poster now, if you go and see one show in Edinburgh, Frank
Yeah.
Skinner, except the first 10 minutes.
Well, they're an interesting combo. Mr. Timkins looks like, you know that man...
Mr. Timkins.
You know that man from the Ministry in like
Yes.
those old black and white movies, like Richard Wattis. So
Yes.
he's got that thing. And then Raymond could have been in the Wurzels.
Yes.
He's got that. So it's
He's got a Benny from Crossroads vibe going on.
yeah,
hasn't he?
but it was one of the strangest experiences of all my Edinburgh Fringe going stuff. But I'm still slightly laughing 2 days later.
Great.
Absolute Radio.
Al, how's your... You've got a show on and all that.
Yeah, well, it started last night and it's up and running. I enjoyed it. Emily Dean came and looked very comfortable. That was...
Did I?
I thought we always discuss your fashion.
It's not often the people on stage talk about whether the people in the audience look comfortable.
I mean, I hate to talk about me, but let's talk
But
about
you
me.
Did
you see me in the audience? Did you connect with me?
No,
at
but I
all?
think you were off to stage right
Yeah, I
in the
laughed.
sort of
I
in what a bit of the room. The room's a strange layout, and I call that bit the den in my head, like it's off to the right.
Little VIP section,
Yeah,
I
it's
called
a
it.
nice
Oh,
section. It's a
Velvet
nice
Ropes,
section.
Phil.
I remembered it, and they laughed. That's my review.
Yeah,
He did great, Frank.
that's always
I
good.
enjoyed it. However, I've set myself some weird challenges this month. I'm
Aside
interested
from the show.
aside from the show. I'm interested in Stoicism, and they have a thing.
Well, you don't go on about it.
I don't much, but they have a thing where apparently you can set yourself a stoic challenge of 30 days without complaining. Now, that is not the way most artists approach the Edinburgh Festival.
No, but that.
But I'm beginning that
Really?
challenge. And if I wasn't, I might think that it was a bit annoying that my sound man didn't flash the lights at me at 50 minutes like I asked him to. But I'm not complaining. I will
Can
mention
I
it to
tell
him
you,
and say,
you did complain to me about that when we met.
oh, I've already failed.
So the stoicism is not going that
We
well.
should explain
Yeah.
to people what that means, please.
Oh, it means a sort of an acceptance of life, the good and the bad, without complaining about it, and just an
Yeah.
No, I'm
acceptance.
talking about when they flash the lights at
Oh,
you.
sorry.
yeah.
Oh,
Because
sorry, I think you meant stoicism.
I want
Stoicism for dummies.
I want my show to last 55 to 60
Okay.
minutes. So if he flashes me on 50 and I think, I'll do one more bit or another couple of bits, then
So a light
And then I get
flashes
off.
at the back of the room that the audience, hopefully at
Yeah.
that stage, the audience is still looking at the stage.
yeah.
And then
I
you
find that
then
interesting.
you know it's wind down.
I never knew that because I just thought comics were brilliant with time.
A
and they
glimpse
just-
behind the curtain would be that
Yeah.
in comedy clubs they quite often say, when do you want your red light? And if you're doing 20 minutes, many comics will say 18, light me on 18. I prefer 17 because, I'm long-winded.
It's not a question you want to ask Louis C.K.
Wowzers.
I find that the only occasions when the lighting man has forgot to give me the light to tell me that time is up is shows that are going really quite badly.
That's not right, is
And
it?
then I end up doing a lot, even
Yeah.
more.
It's kind of counterintuitive because really they should forget to light you if they're really involved and it's going great.
Yeah.
But it's always the other way for the, and I'm going to say artiste, for the artiste.
Oh, say artiste, it's fine.
I
I
can
like
say
that now
artiste.
he's a playwright.
I've got an artist pass for a venue, so I must be one.
Have you?
Yeah.
What?
Go
Sorry,
on.
carry on.
I thought you were going to ask me a little question there.
No, I thought, I'd say, well, I'll think at this stage, I'll go, whoop. And I just did that.
Oh, yeah.
We've just had
Don't
some...
think for a second that I was cut off.
People are already, can I just say, people are already discovering Raymond and Mr. Timkins
Oh,
as a
really?
result of Frank sending in YouTube clips. I've got a dog called Raymond. If I get another dog, I'm going to call it Mr. Timkins.
That's a good
I think,
idea.
I think
Thank you.
it sounds more like a cat's name, Mr. Timkins.
They're
Do
going
you
to sell
think?
out their
Okay.
run now because of Frank.
Yeah. Who would have thought that 10 minutes into the show when I was thinking, what is this?
Frank has the same effect on comedy as Tom Daly does with the Master Pan.
Yeah.
But you know that Mrs. Brown's Boys thing when you think,
Yeah.
have they found a show that was made in 1948? But it's still funny. In those days when people just laughed
Yeah.
and it didn't have to
Back
go.
when comedy was less complicated.
Yeah, it wasn't run through a committee. People just said stuff that made the audience laugh. Don't get me wrong, most of the changes have been for the good,
Yeah.
can I
Yeah.
say. When I started comedy and did some mainstream clubs, I heard people say things which
Oh.
profoundly upset me. But this was more of it had a simplicity about it, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm loath to use the word recommend, but I want you to see, 'cause it's a show I think, remember the rest of my life. Obviously, that might not be that long. I must stop saying that, but I think it'd be great for you guys if I did die suddenly to be able to say. It's funny because he was just saying the other week. I always I like a post-collapse ironic anecdote.
Absolute Radio.
Frank and Alan,
Yes.
I saw a show yesterday, and apart from my two boys sitting here, this is my third most favourite. It's one of my picks of the Fringe.
Oh, okay.
It is called Songs by Kylie.
I'm gonna
Okay.
write that down.
The performer is from Australia. He's called Michael Griffiths. He's a huge Kylie fan. It's not a
Okay.
euphemism.
No, well,
He just, I mean, it
okay.
sort of is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
he's,
I'm guessing.
You know, yeah. But he did a great thing. I mean, I really recommend it. He does his own versions of them. He's got the keyboards. There's all sorts of dry ice going on. He does a
good.
little dance.
Tight gold hot pants.
No, he
Okay.
dressed more like a sort of PO. He had a white shirt and jeans. You know what?
Oh.
Michael didn't need the hot pants. He was that good.
Okay.
Yeah. I needed the hot pants. Yeah, good on you for not mentioning the fact that I was wearing those.
Well, I've got one of those heated seats in the car, so I don't wear mine.
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
He did a great thing, though. He came on, and as we know, early doors, we've discussed this, bathrobe and rollers time. He was great. He was very professional.
Mm-hmm.
But he came on and he sort of anticipated it because he said, look, it's my opening night, loves. Look, I'm going to be honest. I need a ton of support from you tonight, okay? Because the previews, I'm not going to lie, they have been a disaster. So I really want you to show me some love. Is that okay? Are you with me? I mean,
And was it was it an ironic postmodern part of the show? Was
I
it from
think
the
it was
heart?
a clever ploy because it was actually brilliant. But we were
do you
so
think
with
he was
him.
sincere?
Oh.
Yeah, I think maybe he might have been because then he was saying, "You've been amazing. You've been incredible. I love you." And then at the end, he was so happy. He said, "It's my first night. I'm going to celebrate with some champagne because it's my first night. I've got some champagne. I think we should all have a drink." My partner's here. His partner came shuffling on with the champagne.
What was she like?
She had
It's
a
a
beard.
question from 1978.
She had a beard, Frank.
Oh, did she?
Did she?
And what was he like? Okay. And did you have a champagne?
Well, was a question would be a reasonable one to ask.
Yeah.
Carver.
No, he said, "Look, you know, it's. I think it's time we raise a glass, and you know, it's my." And then his partner poured a drink for him, and he drank the champagne while we watched.
Oh, I
mean,
see.
you know, Michael, come on, he scrimped on that front.
Oh.
Yeah, but there's a spoon going in that bottle. You'll be having another glass out of it
Good
tomorrow.
point.
Yeah.
Just put a fake cork back in to make it look
I
brand
thought
new for the
about
show.
going to that channel and I wasn't sure about it. And for me, I've got to be certain.
Oh, Frank.
Oh, yes.
Well, once you go, I mean, I can't get it out of my head now.
Oh, wow.
Alan, not going to happen, is it?
Not going to happen. Je ne sais pas pourquoi.
Oh, very good.
Oh, it's a long walk if we're going to do every Kylie hit. I'm very much first two albums as well myself.
Yeah,
After
I should
that.
be so lucky.
After that, I was avoiding that.
I know.
Oh, anyway, I'm sure they. Anyway, would you recommend that show though?
Recommend it. The producer cried. I mean, she'd had a late night and had been drinking, but she cried at his rendition of "I Wouldn't Check Hand on My Heart."
Oh yeah,
She was sobbing.
really?
Even Michael was a bit shocked.
God, the previews must have been tough.
Absolute Radio.
I have you been to the Pleasance Dome this festival?
Not so far.
Frankie goes to Hollywood.
See, I went. I went there, and I went to the toilet there,
Oh.
and it wasn't what I was expecting. So I went into the men's toilets. How can I explain this? You know, when you go into a urinal,
Yeah.
you go in and you.
Stand.
Well, yeah, but before that, you have to unzip and
All right.
yeah, all that. Yeah, you have to go al fresco.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I walked in already doing that,
Right.
but there's kind of an ante room, and then you have to walk through that room, which is just sinks,
Right.
and then the urinals are from where from the point where I actually went al fresco.
Yeah.
I probably had to walk another 25 feet.
Too much.
And it was like crossing a room at a party, completely exposed. I just
Yeah, that's not
completely
ideal.
mistimed my.
Were there other gentlemen in there?
Well, there were, but I think they probably just thought they see so many strange things at the Fringe.
They probably just thought that, you're a very busy man now, you're a playwright, and you've obviously life hacked.
Yeah,
You've optimised your time. Oh, he's using his journey time well.
I went so early on it. It was, and you can't like put it in. I would have had time to put it away and get it out, but I had to brazen it out.
Oh, lovely.
But it was
Lovely way to put it.
it was very awkward.
Well, you've got the new. It fits with the new, slightly dishevelled genius.
Oh.
I mean, you look immaculate,
yeah.
but I don't know what goes on in that.
I think in 2018,
No.
you can do it anywhere else. If I start doing that generally in the street,
No.
there'll be trouble.
Keep it to the antechamber. That's
Oh,
what
I went to a show in a yurt.
Did you?
How was that?
Yeah. When were you last? I once had a massage in a yurt.
I think I read about that in your autobiography.
Was it a police singer?
Yeah, that's the first draft for it didn't scan.
For a message in a bottle.
Massage in a yurt. Yes,
and
I
I remember lying on this table. I hate massages.
Too touchy.
I just hate them. I always feel ill after.
Yeah.
They're terrible. I'd never have another massage ever.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to have a rule.
Yeah. I had a massage in Japan and I was bruised the next day.
Really?
Oh, come on.
They can hurt.
Yeah.
So I remember lying on that massage table and looking up and there's a hole, there's a hole in the top of a yurt and just there was the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. It wasn't true of the show I went to, but I saw a woman called Tessa Waters.
Okay.
Do you know her? Australian act.
No?
No.
Man, I got to tell you, it was really funny.
Was it?
Oh,
It was
good.
proper. Started with a pillow fight.
Really?
Yeah.
Love a pillow fight.
Well, that sounds good fun.
So I won't give too much away, but she got someone up and they had a pillow fight. And I thought, I'd forgotten pillow fights existed. I thought the money I've spent on soft play centres,
Yeah.
it's all there in my home.
Yeah.
Anyway, she walloped this bloke. I mean, I thought it was going to be a bit of fun at the beginning. She really went after him with the pillow. I'd forgotten what a pillow fight could be. It's like gladiators.
Oh, it does get out of hand eventually. I think that's might be why they've sort of deteriorated.
Well, I always associate them with like through a blitz of feathers, but that didn't happen.
No,
Yeah.
that's memory foam for you.
But there was 13 of us in this yurt, and it sounded like 400.
13 of us in this relationship.
Yeah, honestly, we got such a response. It was,
really?
yeah. I mean, I've played to 400 when it sounded like 13.
Testify. Me too.
So it was nice. But yeah, honestly, if you're coming up,
Tessa Waters.
Tessa Waters.
Okay, Tessa
And is
Another
that her real
Australian.
name, or do you think it's a pun on Test the Waters?
You know what? I hadn't thought of that. Incredibly,
Tessa Waters.
Tessa Waters. No, I hope it isn't. Can we edit that bit? I was exploring the saying how it would
Don't
work.
explore.
And,
We'll explore again.
Yeah, I think it was the bruising and all that. It all got mixed up into one terrible quagmire of mistakenness. Oh, God. Things were going so well. I've still got me playwriting.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you another thing that I was quite careful to not do this year at the Edinburgh Festival. Last year I got dangerously addicted to haggis.
Oh, yeah, it is very addictive,
I had a
haggis.
lot. And this year I was like, I'm definitely not having haggis the day before my first show, because then it might become like one of those pre-show rituals. If the show then goes well, you think, well, I've got to have my lucky haggis.
Yeah.
And I don't want to eat 25 haggis in a month. That would be high
I don't know, it
risk.
sounds good to me.
Does sound good. Anyway, finished my show last night. Had a cup of tea with my friend and a chat with Emily. On my way home, I went and got myself a haggis sub.
Of course you did.
So
Well, I
a bit
went-
naughty. Eating
I had-
it at midnight before getting up at 6 as well. Ridiculous.
I went and saw Rob Orton's show last night, which is also brilliant. And
yeah.
we went for steak and chips afterwards.
He's in
Nice.
Frank's play as well.
And the steak, there's a list of sauces you can have with it.
Mhm.
You know, whiskey sauce and
Oh, right.
pepper
Well,
sauce.
you can't have whiskey.
But then at the bottom of the sauces, for £4 you could have haggis with it. And I thought steak and haggis, that would be, but I fought the urge.
You did?
I did.
Absolute Radio.
But now you've mentioned haggis, I'm gonna have to have it for lunch.
What about I had sausage roll on the train on the way up here?
Did you?
Yeah, because I get a bit what happens in Vegas when I come to Scotland. Do you know what I mean? I just all the rules go out the window. Full fat Coke, sausage roll.
Well, what about I got into my flat and I had a gift from my manager saying good luck with the play and all that. And it was a massive box of cheese and a massive box of fudge. And for the first 3 days, every meal I had cheese and fudge.
You got your savoury and sweet there.
I was honestly living on cheese and fudge for 3 days. Now, that can't be good for you.
I reckon that's fine. You've got all your food groups covered there.
I've got the fudge. Do you want? I'll give you some fudge during this break. It's the best.
No, you're all right.
Honestly.
I'll have some.
It's exceptional fudge. There's a pink fudge. I don't know what the flavour is. I've never tasted anything like it.
Okay.
It was Raymond and Mr. Timkins all over again.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner, Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane all together now on the Frank Skinner radio show from Edinburgh. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I would like to talk to you about money, guys.
Oh, here we go.
We're not paid
Cold,
in days.
hard cash. Folding.
Money talks, I've
I want
heard.
to talk about the Harry Kane £10 notes. There's some £10 notes that an artist has... Oh, no, £5 notes there are. And an artist
Typical
has
you
engraved...
trying to get more value for money.
Yeah, that's inflation for you. An artist has engraved like little Harry Kane portraits onto 6 fivers and then is sort of spending them around the country.
But he's deliberately sent them to like specific places, like where his dad grew up.
Merthyr Tydfil.
Yeah.
And there's one in Edinburgh, I
There's
understand.
one here right now. He spent it in the J.K.
Elephant
Rowling
House.
Cafe.
Yeah.
So
But it's not
It'd be a
hers,
bit-
I don't think.
They say if you pick it up, if you get one, it's worth 50 grand.
Yeah, I would question that, though, because I don't know anybody that would pay 50 grand for a fiver. Like, if you ask me, how much would you pay for it, even if it's engraved with Harry Kane on it?
Well, if I ask you for it...
£6. £6 is my maximum offer.
Okay.
So if anybody bids like £6.01, I'm out.
It's
I'm
an
not even having
investment,
it.
love.
I'm done.
I think he's an artist, so you're getting a work of it.
No, I think
We should
I think it's
explain.
made up.
It ought
Six.
to be Banksy.
Yeah.
Banksy of England.
excellent. We should say
I'll
there
tell
are
you
6.
something, it'd be a bit ironic if J.K. Rowling got it. Hey, talk about money going to money.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's already rowling in it.
Oh. There are 6 in total. 1 has gone to...
That's 1 for each goal he scored in the World
Yeah.
Cup,
Yeah.
I believe.
But there are
World
only
Cup.
4 in circulation because 1 has gone to Harry Kane.
No.
Like he needs it.
Yeah.
The second one went to the FA. Yeah. That's gonna come to a good end, isn't it? Where's that going to end up?
That's just going to get lost.
Yeah.
In some oligarch's
Some
house.
dog will find it under a hedge, wrapped in brown paper.
But as you say, they've gone everywhere. There's one in all over the country. So there's Wales. There's one yet to be placed in Northern Ireland, I think. That's the final one that's got to be placed.
It's actually illegal, isn't it, to deface?
It is. I think this whole story is glamorising crime.
Oh, I love that. I don't. My dad used to work at the Rover plant.
Oh, did he?
Where they made the Land Rovers. So they used to get celebrities going to buy Land Rovers. The Land Rover is it's such a sort of 70s thing to have. And we had on our wall, we had basically 3 celebrity autographs on our wall. We had Frank Ifield. Do you remember him? The sexy yodeler.
Okay.
The sexy yodeler.
Sexy yodeler, Australian yodeler. He had a hit with She Taught Me to Yodel.
Right.
I remember that.
I don't know that.
She taught me to yodel, yodel-oo-dee.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, you get the picture.
I do, yeah.
Anyway,
I imagine there's a lot of
our
yodeling
Nora
in it.
loved him.
Yeah.
And so he signed a £1 note for my dad.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And,
No offence, but slightly less exciting.
well, not at the time.
Celebrity-wise.
Not at the time.
Okay.
I mean, Harry Kane's signature would have been well, he would have been in liquid form at that period.
Yeah.
So that was on. But he said Frank Ifield had said to him, I've been told I'm not supposed to sign currency. It's not actually legal. So I remember that. And then Ginger Baker, we had a signed pound that my dad had. You know, Ginger Baker, drummer from Cream.
Yeah.
And then my mum had got, been to a shop opening when celebrities used to do that.
Yeah.
Well, they cut the ribbon.
Cut the ribbon with scissors. And Noel Gordon, who was the star of Crossroads,
Meg Mortimer.
which was a soap, in case you're young, set in the West Midlands. And in fact, they had a thing on the when the internet first started. I remember seeing this, and it was a Birmingham thing. You could. I don't know what it's like, early social media.
Yeah.
And it was spottings around Birmingham of former Crossroads stars. That's what it was. I saw Jane Rossington putting dark glasses on in John Lewis or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
And one of them was I saw Noel Gordon, but I don't know if it counts. I couldn't actually physically see her because she was in a coffin. And I thought, is that a celebrity sighting? It's tricky, isn't it?
Goodness me.
It is
I'm
tricky.
not sure if that counts as a... Do you know my favourite ever episode of Crossroads? I appreciate this is quite niche, but, roll with it. The best ever cliffhanger was Noel Gordon, the character of Meg Mortimer. She gets a phone call. She picks it up. She went, "Hello, darling. I've taken a tranquilizer." Down,
And then it ended on that. Those was in the days when tranquilizer struck fear. Just a word. Yeah.
Excellent.
Do people
Whatever happened to
do they still call
tranquilizers?
tranquilizers? I'm going to start saying. I think I'm going to start taking them just so I can use the word.
Absolute Radio.
We should say that the engraver, Al, for the £5 notes is from Birmingham, which is a
Is that
lovely,
right?
lovely thing for you, I thought, Frank.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of
One of yours.
fine detailed work. Of course, was the specialist. It used to be the toy shop of Europe,
Birmingham.
Well, it's
Oh, yeah.
called Graham Short, our Graham.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's a very good drawing of Harry Kane.
is it?
I say it looks brilliant, but apparently it will fade and kind of disappear after the group matches.
I worry, though, that the thing that worries me a bit about it, and it has this in common with the statue of Chris, as we call him.
Oh, Chris Ronaldo.
Yeah. Chris Ronaldo. Which is, I don't like statues where you can see the teeth. I don't think you should ever have teeth on any sort of, if it's
But
on a
to be
bust or
fair,
a statue.
he can't draw Harry Kane with his mouth closed because he doesn't.
No,
he
he
doesn't do
he
it in
never
real
closes
life.
it.
So why?
That's
why
a
would
very
we
good
start
point.
now?
Yeah, but I just think teeth look funny on a statue. You can have Michelangelo's David with the big old wonky teeth.
You're right.
Isn't
I
it?
think if you can avoid teeth, it probably is. I don't know, as you say, it's a tricky one with Harry, unless you give him a toffee apple. And you don't want to be into 3D. You know those holograms you get on that? One of the things I didn't understand about Graham Short is they said he'd done this before with... he put Jane Austen on a
That's it.
£10 note. And I thought, I've had one of them, I think.
Have you?
Isn't Jane Austen on
She's
the
on
10?
notes, yeah, but maybe not engraved in there.
Has he
in,
done
like, the
all
silver
them?
Bit. No.
So he did
Most
it.
Birmingham thing you've ever said.
So the Royal Mint has seen that and thought, I'm having that. And they've nicked his...
Or did he put it on? Did he put it on the ones that already had it, like his own version of it, like an echo?
Oh, that would be a bit cheeky, wouldn't it?
It is a bit
a
cheeky.
better version of Jane Austen.
I love our
It's a bit
discussions about money.
It's a
Like
bit
you seeing
ostentatious.
someone's Edinburgh show and going, I've got some extra jokes for you. A bit
Yeah,
like
I'd
that.
never do that. I'm not going to say which one, but I did see an Edinburgh show which included a joke that I had suggested after seeing a preview.
Oh, did
Really?
you?
So
Excellent.
sometimes
They take
it's
it
a
on
bad
board.
thing. I've made a vow I'm never going to do
No,
it
it's
again.
fine.
Is
fine.
it though? If I go and see you and say, that bit you could add.
You've done that before. Don't
Have I?
make it
Oh, my
hypothetical.
I'm sorry
Can we
about
just leave the studio? I feel sick.
that. Have I done that before?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Why do I do that?
Absolute Radio.
Just while that was playing, I just doodled on the back of a tenner, and it's now for sale for £40,000 if anybody's interested.
What's the doodle?
It's a monkey eating a banana.
Oh, I think you want a famous person.
Oh,
I've done.
it's one of the
Don't
PG
give them
Tips
teeth.
monkeys. Has that helped?
I've done the whole of Kajagoogoo
Oh, have you?
around the Queen's face, like it's a sort of a team picture.
All right, I'll
I've
give you
done,
7 for it.
I've done Cagney and Lacey
Nice.
with trench coat.
Oh, you did it, Mary Beth. We did it, Harvey. So,
Absolute 80s.
Can't
Yeah.
have that name at the moment.
I'd have thought the obvious person, if you're going to put an England footballer on a British banknote, Raheem Sterling.
Very good.
Surely.
Come on.
Very good.
I love that, Frank. What a great idea.
That
Really.
would have been a lovely. I wonder if there'll ever be a footballer actually on,
There should be.
On the-
like
on the
Jane
money, as it
Austen.
were.
Yeah, on the money.
Playing the Johnson Faraday role, you mean, up front?
But if they just picked one by Tom Bowler, didn't go for just a famous one, it ended up with
Oh,
like
that would
Dean
be good.
Windass. I'd love that because it's sort of celebrating the game in general
Just
rather
someone,
than just
I
the
do.
peaks.
I'd go Nigel Clough.
Oh well, yeah.
Is
Don't
it-
overlook Steve Bull.
I'd rather overlook Steve.
You would.
I
Pick
remember.
someone from the wrong
Remember, he
team.
wears a tatter's hat.
You're right. It should just be some sort of, as you say, Tom Bowler. Everyone gets a
Tom
chance.
Bowler, here's another one.
Yeah. He's on the cricket now, isn't he?
Yeah. Eric Bowler, or E Bowler as he was called.
I don't know if I should tell you this. This is almost a glimpse behind the curtain on the subject of cash. There's a magician guy on the circuit, on the comedy circuit, who used to get £10 off an audience member, and then he would do a magic trick where he set it on fire on stage to hilarity. Everyone thinking
Illegal.
the person's
I don't think
tenner
that
has
is
been-
illegal.
Well, what?
Everybody would think the volunteer's
trust,
tenner
listeners?
has been burned,
Yeah.
and then he would make it reappear and give it back to them. And somebody said to them backstage, "How do you do that trick?" And he said, "Oh, I just burn a tenner and give it to them." So you think he's spending £10 a show on that rubbish trick.
Wow.
I mean, you don't have to be a maths genius to work out that's quite expensive over the course of a month or a year of
Yeah.
gigs.
Will you still get hate mail from the Magic Circle that you've given that away?
Oh,
my
possibly.
God.
I don't-
Even though it's not,
It's not a trick.
by any stretch a trick.
It's possible.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be the woman who's getting sawn in half by him.
Absolute Radio.
I just burnt £20 to impress you all, didn't I? It's good.
I hope that woman with the pink fan isn't listening to this. Yeah, it'll be turned blue.
What about Craig Cash? He could
Oh,
turn
yeah.
up on something, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Craig Cash recently. I did Loose Ends with
Oh,
him.
Oh yeah.
He has
I love
got
him.
someone, he or someone else, has got to write a play about Marquis Smith of The Fall in which Craig Cash plays Marquis Smith.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
He's-
good.
That is waiting to happen. When I looked at him, I thought, you've got to. The voice, and he's got that, that
Well, don't
mank.
say the face.
That mank. Well, no, he's
No.
not as far, but that could be achieved.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's gotta play Marquis Smith. I meant to say it to him, but
Yeah.
it'd be great as well because he's got that Manx kind of chippiness,
Yeah.
which we all love, of course. Why didn't he change the note to a £6 note
Oh,
for
yeah.
the 6
Hey,
goals?
yeah. That's a big old number to pull off that. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
but
lot of
what?
admin.
Do you know how I
Right.
always set my alarms for things like 7:01 and 2:33 because I will not be oppressed by the 12ths that everyone spits an hour into?
Sounds so like the prisoner when you say that.
Yeah, why do I am not a number. Why do we have to? Why is it always multiples of 5 in the notes world?
That's right.
Yeah. What would be your dream note? You know what? I'd love a 7.
£8 note.
7 would be good, nice biblical number.
7.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, it's all over the Bible like a rash.
What about 12? Would you like a £12 note as well?
£12 note,
That's
but
a-
you know what?
that's a
I
biblical
wouldn't
one, isn't it?
really. I
You
wouldn't. I think 7 or 6 maybe is a bit more
£12 note
practical.
would be quite good for buying
Yes.
a paperback,
I've got
surely.
my hand up because I've just remembered something. On the train on the way up, I was with the staff, And we sat next to a man, lovely man.
The staff of the train or the staff of the radio
Staff
show?
of the radio show.
Okay.
Turned out to be a football agent, more of which later.
Okay.
Lovely man. But at one point he said, so, what's your lucky number?
Okay. This sounds like a chat-up line.
Yeah.
What? Well, I mean,
Was he
we
reading
don't
about
have a
how to
lucky
chat
number.
up birds
Who
on the
has a lucky
train?
Yeah. It's an old book.
Yeah.
It needs a bit of work. What's your lucky number? But would you ask someone that? I said I don't have
But
one.
what was it
I'm
about?
not 8.
What was it about?
I don't know. I don't know where it led. But he just asked. Well, he was
I
making.
don't like the sound of it.
Do you not? No, he was ever so
I know
nice.
the number he was
It was
hoping
ever
for.
so nice.
Oh, what do you think? Oh dear. Oh,
Oh.
Frank.
If you'd have said that, I mean, oh.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, I'm worried that it was directed at all 3 of the ladies, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
as well,
Legend. Sorry.
Of course, we still put up, don't we, with the 99p thing.
Yeah.
That is, can you believe that's still going?
It's still
Based
going.
on the psychological theory that
And we
people
all-
will say, I'm not paying £4 for that. No, it's £3.99. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we all do it. We all know
But
it.
do we do it?
Yes, we do.
Do we
Although-
actually?
Yeah. Man is simple.
Although my Edinburgh show is £10 and £11 or 11 and 12, there's no 99 on that. Why haven't I done that? I could get some more people in.
So could I get in with my new £11 note?
Yes, you'd be very welcome.
Oh, lovely. That's great. No, it's a weird thing that people, people think £20, no way. 19.99, all right.
Yeah.
Tonight I'm going to party like it's £20.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a missive in from Alun. Frank et al.
Well, what's the point? It's only
Not
no,
me.
go on.
The 99p is to stop fraud / money scamming in shops. If it was a full £1, then when someone paid the exact money, there would be no need to open the till and give change. Therefore, the sales assistant could pocket the money. 99p forces the sales assistant to open the till and give change. Thanks, Alan.
Wow, such is human nature that has had to be brought in.
I'm not buying that, Al.
I think
I'm
it
not,
sounds strangely convincing. A man once come up to me in a restaurant and did that thing, is everything all right with your food? And I said, why do people do that? If there's anything wrong with the food, I'll complain about it. And he said, yeah, what people do is they complain after they've eaten like 2/3 of the meal. He said, that's why we come very early on.
Right.
And if you've okayed it then
Yeah.
when you come up after and try and basically get a free meal, we're able to say, well, we did ask you and you said it was fine.
Well, that's a good point.
Oh, that's a good thing to do.
That
But
bit
all
I
these,
believe.
all
The
these
99
checks and,
pence thing, I'm
checks
not
and
sure.
measures on human behaviour.
Yeah.
We're so,
We've
I think Samuel Johnson said, if ever you question whether the human being is essentially dishonest, just read any contract. And it is. It's all about stopping people doing bad stuff illegally because they'll do it if you don't put it in the contract.
yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want to end, by the way, on a terrible
No.
downer on humanity.
What about some Sue Pollard anecdotes for ending?
That's a nice light ending.
I just can't get enough.
Yeah.
I just can't get enough.
489 has texted, good morning, Frank and friends. Talking of Sue Pollard, which we were earlier,
We were.
it reminded me of a Friday evening in London, having a few beers by way of celebrating my mate John's birthday.
Would but shouldn't.
Any road. Sue was in the pub and we all got chatting. And as John left, she planted several kisses on his cheek and shirt collar,
Shut up.
wishing him many happy returns.
Lovely.
Sue was sporting a lot of very bright red lipstick.
You don't
To cut
say.
a long story short, John's explanation to his wife that it was Sue Pollard was not believed then nor ever has
No, well,
been.
we've all used that one. Of course, I daren't use it after a questionnaire in the Daily Mail.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's her natural ebullience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah,
than,
she's a brilliant character.
Oh, it's all right when they do it.
Yeah, John's
Yeah.
wife should understand.
I don't know. I can understand John's wife's. Especially as John's wife is actually Miss Cathcart.
If this was in the days before the mobile phone camera attachment, then it would have been very difficult. Now there would be a selfie with Sue, wouldn't there?
Yeah,
You could go,
totally.
see, it's Sue, but
Yeah.
back then,
We should have got a selfie the other day,
just
so.
treated with mistrust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, can I mention one other show? I went to see a show called We've Got Each Other, which is a John Bon Jovi musical.
Oh, I love the sound of that, Frank.
And it was, what was nice about it is the premise. I don't think it's giving it too much away, because it begins like this. And the premise is this bloke has written a John Bon Jovi musical, and then it proved to be too expensive to stage. So it's an enormous blank stage with one bloke sitting in a corner reading from a bound script.
Oh, okay.
A bit like, I always love the opening to Michael Winner's True Crimes when he sat in a chair with a book and
Well,
said...
actually, that was like when I saw Russell Grant, lest we forget,
Yes.
a few years ago at Edinburgh.
I know, but the True Crimes used to have some terrible things. Like he'd say Elizabeth Baxter was a calm, collected woman, but she literally lost her head on the 7th of September night. And you think, whoa, don't pun on it, Michael. Don't pun on a beheading, Michael. That's what the director shouted, but he wouldn't be told. So it was really, if you love musical theatre,
We've Got Each Other. That's what it's
I
called.
mean,
He
it's,
was having a moment with you then, Frank.
yeah.
Alan was.
So he basically he just tells you the whole show. But
Oh,
I tell you what,
Was he?
yeah. And it's but it's great. It's got every sort of in reference to musical theatre you could
I love
wish for.
Slippery When Wet. Is it Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet?
It is.
Yeah.
We was
Big
having
fan.
in the queue. We was having a debate. Woman was saying to me, we've been talking we've racked our brains, and I thought this is good. They haven't Googled, and she said, we can only think of one Bon Jovi song, and that's "Living on a Prayer."
Oh, no, there's a lot of others.
Yeah, it's slightly ironic because I don't think I should tell you. Spoilers. Let's say that one does feature quite heavily in the musical. So look, we come to the end of our little Edinburgh sojourn.
loved it,
Not me, kid.
Now you're still up for ages.
Doing the duration on.
In fact, Steve Hall will be with us next week, our old friend of the show, Steve Hall, because, Alan will be with his new friends,
Yeah.
basically.
Edinburgh.
But thank you so much for listening, and good morning, Britain.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
On
Absolute Radio.